Good evening. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with WeatherNow Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. Let me fix the microphone here for you a little bit so you can make sure you can hear me okay there. Of course, as you're coming into the broadcast, if you would not mind, tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen there. Shares this video on your news feed so that your friends and family can get informed and up to date on what to expect. Guys, winter is awake. It's been awake for a while here, and I think we're going to see it kind of roar, if you will, over the next few days here in Kentucky. And for some of you folks, it's going to be a long 72 hours ahead. We have multiple systems to talk about here tonight. Obviously, we're going to focus mainly on the Thursday evening to Friday morning system. But for those of you that have not heard yet, there is the potential for another system on Saturday that may be bigger than the one Thursday night into Friday. We'll talk briefly about that one. That one is still we're still kind of getting our grips about it. We're still kind of getting familiar with it. Sorry for the very basic sweatshirt tonight. I listen, it's cold out here. I'm trying to stay warm. The heater does a great job, but it's still sometimes pretty chilly out here. But again, we still have that to talk about. This weekend, we have a very brief but pretty brutal cold snap this weekend. I want to talk with you a little bit about that as well. But it all starts tonight with some snow squalls happening out in central and mainly eastern Kentucky. And some of you out in southeastern Kentucky may pick up 3 to 4 inches of snowfall tonight alone. So we have a loaded broadcast ahead. Of course, toward the end, we'll do a Q&A. Of course, probably not going to answer a whole lot of backyard questions. You guys know how that goes. If we're going to be here all night if I try to answer all those with you, right? So again, I appreciate everyone tuning in here. We'll give it about a minute before we start on things, if you guys don't mind. Hopefully the video and everything's looking okay, because I did make some changes to everything. So hopefully everything is looking and sounding okay for everyone. Again, as you're coming in, I would ask that you please hit the share button at the bottom portion of your screen. That shares this video on your news feeds. That way your friends and family can view it. I'm just quickly going to do that myself real quick while we're waiting. And then I'll make sure I say hello to you guys as you're coming in here. I'm just making sure everything's working. Okay. Pull this up real quickly. I'm going to share the video real quick. Give me 1 second. My phone is going really slow today, which honestly is kind of on par with everything, because right now, like, everything seems to be going slow for some reason. There we go. Okay, I shared the broadcast. Okay. All right. Vanessa, hello to you. Shirley, thank you for sharing the broadcast. Margaret, good evening to you, my friend. Brenda, hello from Greup, Kentucky. Shanika on YouTube says hi from Lexington. By the way, we're live on both YouTube and Facebook. We will be going live to TikTok here soon as well. I'm working on getting that set up. That's a whole process. I didn't realize how TikTok makes that an entire process. So again, if you're just now hopping in here, first of all, welcome in here. I appreciate you guys tuning into the broadcast. We do have 1, 2, 3 snow events over the next 3 to 4 days here in Kentucky. I want to talk about all 3 of those. And then, of course, I want to talk about, it is brief. It is very brief. Only last couple of days, but a very brutal cold snap coming this weekend. This weekend, if you have any plans outdoors, guys, I would not advise that. I would advise against that. It's going to be brutally cold this weekend. So cold, in fact, that if you're outside for more than 30 to 40 minutes, you're likely going to get some sort of frostbite. That's how cold we're talking. It's not hyperbole. It is absolutely on the table. So let's go ahead and start diving into this. You guys that are veterans here, you guys know how this works. I'll go through all the model data, forecast, so on and so forth. And then toward the end, I will do a little bit of a Q&A. So if you're asking questions throughout the broadcast, don't feel like I'm ignoring you. I like to give the whole spiel first, because 9 times out of 10, your question is going to be answered as I go through my little spiel here. Before we start, I just want to say thank you to our sponsors real quickly. As you guys know, without them, we're not able to be here for you guys 24/7. So thank you to Creature Comfort Inn. You can get 10% off right now any of your pet stays with Creature Comfort Inn using code WNK when you book with them. Once Upon a Child on Outer Loop in Louisville and on Elizabethtown in Kentucky. They're needing some sportswear to start to put out for the next seasons there. So you can go cash in on some of your money by selling your clothes back to them. Yeah, of course, that's baby and kid clothes and toddler clothes and so on and so forth. They also have tons of baby toys and equipment as well. Make sure you go check out Once Upon a Child. We're bringing in a shop all the time. Plato's Closet in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Guys, I'm doing the sponsor spot early so you can enjoy just bear with me here. Plato's Closet in E-Town, Kentucky. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring us as well. Of course, you can go sell your clothes back to them. Also, shop. They have a lot of clearance items. Christmas is around the corner. Save some money at Once Upon a Child and Plato's Closet in E-Town, Kentucky. Thank you so much to Right Implement, our longest standing sponsor, over 2 years now with Right Implement. That's hard to believe. Such kind people down there to work with them. Hopefully, you guys consider supporting their business. They have so many raffles and sales going on. It's not even funny. Make sure you go follow their page on Facebook at Right Implement or at Right IMP, or just type in Right Implement. They have over 15 locations you could shop at. And of course, finally, Hyper Roofing in Hardin County. If you're in or around Hardin County, you can only really trust Hyper Roofing because they have some of the best warranties around here that not a whole lot of other roofing companies have. So again, everyone we've sent to Hyper Roofing has always come back really happy. So that's really good to hear. All right. Thank you again, all of our sponsors. I appreciate that because, again, that's how we're allowed to be here for you guys 24/7. So let's get into the information now that we took care of the business. Again, I hope you guys consider supporting them. On your screen right now is our live radar from WeatherWise, and there are a lot of colors happening here. I think there was just some more winter weather advisories issued. Let's break this whole thing down here. Now, there's a lot of colors here because there is some overlap. For example, this blue area is both a winter weather advisory and a special weather statement for the next 7 hours. So in that blue area and teal area, so these areas that you're seeing in blue and teal, those are both special weather statements for tonight's potential snow squalls. Okay, if you don't know what snow squalls are, I kind of liken them to mini blizzards. Don't hear that and freak out, okay? Basically what they are, it's very brief but heavy shots of snow in the middle of 20 to 40 mile per hour winds. So they're not, they kind of, when they first happen, they almost look like a snow globe or a little snow blizzard. And in those blue areas, again, the blue and the teal there, where the special weather statement exists, that's where they're expecting those snow squalls to kind of briefly impact tonight. Mainly dustings, if you see anything, they will be very hit and miss. So not all of you that are colored right now will see this. They are very thin, very hit and miss. So don't bank on it. But if you see one, look out for some slick spots. Now, down there in the bottom purples, not the top purple, so don't look at Louisville, Frankfort, Nicholasville, Lexington. Don't look at that one. Look at this bottom one down here. I'll actually draw it real quickly. From Pikeville to Hazard, so on and so forth. This is a winter weather advisory for tonight's snow squalls. So again, this is the area that could see multiple snow squalls, and you're up higher in the elevations, so you're colder. It's going to stick a lot easier, so on and so forth. They could see 1 to 3 inches down here in that bottom purple zone tonight and overnight for potential snow squalls. Again, this is just the first of 3 events that we're going to be talking about in this video. So again, I'm trying to keep it as least confusing as possible here. So this is the first of the 3 events that we're talking about. This is tonight. Again, down there in that purple zone, Pikeville, more specifically toward those upper elevations in, like, what is that, Whitesburg and Cumberland down there. I can't remember. Yeah, Whitesburg and Cumberland. Those are the kind of areas, Harlan, Cumberland, Whitesburg, Elkhorn City up toward Pikeville. Those areas could see 1 to 3 inches down there tonight from the snow squalls. Okay. If you're in like Barberville, Manchester, Hyden, Hazard, where you're also included in that winter weather advisory, you can see multiple snow squalls as well, but don't expect as much accumulation because you're not going to be as high up in the atmosphere, or the elevations, I should say. So again, probably closer to 1 inch there. And again, they're very hit and miss. So not every single one of you is going to see this tonight. All right. As far as the purple area up here and also the blue area. Okay. So now we're up here. There's a lot. I kind of wish they would have waited for this. I understand why they did it. I really kind of wish they would have waited until tomorrow morning when the other advisories and stuff expired. But let me kind of just draw a sort of an outline here. Again, this blue and purple area up here, which honestly, hold on, let me redo that. Okay, let's do this. And you can go ahead and throw Louisa and Ashland in there as well, because they're going to eventually be included in it as well. These areas here, this is for the potential for tomorrow night's snow system. So Thursday night into Friday morning, that's like 5 p.m. Thursday to Friday at 5 a.m. Friday. Again, we're going to break all this down on model data, take you through the timings and everything more detailed. Right now, we're just kind of overviewing everything here. This is for that system where potentially 2 to 4 inches of snowfall can fall in this area. And I would not be shocked to start seeing some winter storm warnings actually coming out in some of these areas. We went pretty light on our snow map on purpose because the temperature gradient, the snow gradient on this system in particular for Thursday night into Friday is extremely tight. Like, for example, in Nicholasville, you might see a dusting to 1 inch, while Lexington sees almost 4 inches. Again, that's just an example, but that's how tight it is. They're only 15 to 25 miles away, but that's how tight it is. That's how big the differences can be. So this event for Thursday night and Friday is quite a headache. I'll just put it that way. But again, if you see those advisories and colors and warnings right there that you're seeing on your screen, that's for Thursday night into Friday, the ones that I circled there. Okay. As far as Saturday, of course, no advisories, warnings, watches are out for that just yet because, again, they're going to kind of get a little bit through these next two. And then probably, I would assume by Friday night, we'll start to see some of those watches and advisories start to come out, especially if the model data keeps trending like it does. I will say that in my opinion, in my eyeballs, Saturday night has the biggest potential for snow that we've seen so far this season. The cold air will be in place. It's going to be very cold air. So you're talking about more efficient snow. I'll talk about that in a second as well. You also have an ample amount of moisture because the low pressures are kind of phasing together a little bit. It's going to be, I think it's got the biggest potential. We'll see if it continues to trend that way. All right. So that's kind of the overview. Let's go ahead and start looking at some of the model data now, start breaking down timings and kind of get you more familiar with these next three systems. And then, of course, we'll talk about the brief, yes, Arctic blast, the term everyone's using for it for this weekend. Okay, let's start with first tonight, the snow squalls that impact far eastern and southeastern Kentucky. You'll see that by about, it should be here very soon. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and I'm going to turn off all these colors here because I don't know about you guys, but I can't hardly see anything. I'm actually going to click on the radar over here. I want to see if this is rain or snow. Looks like it's rain and snow. So these will eventually turn to all snow. And you can see that they're more focused in southeastern Kentucky. And that's why there's some potential for 2 to 3 inches of snow down there tonight. So again, the model data here is also trying to indicate that. By the way, in the top left here where my cursor is kind of circling around, that's the time. So you can actually look right there and see what time we're on and what date we're on. Again, 6 p.m. Central Time is 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So just keep that in mind. Advancing this forward throughout the night, you'll see some snow squalls happening out there in eastern Kentucky. You can see what I mean, though. They're very thin, they're very small, so they're very hit and miss. 90% of you probably won't see that in these, even if you're included in the special weather statement and the winter weather advisory. 90% of you is not going to see anything tonight. These are going to be very small, very thin, very hit and miss. All right. Advance this forward, you'll see that kind of picks up after the overnight hours. You'll see they're more concentrated east of I-75. I-75 is this blue line that you're seeing running through Lexington. If you go east of that toward like London and out there toward the eastern portions of the state, it's more popular over there for those snow squalls to kind of exist overnight. This has hours of snowfall or snow squalls in Pikeville. So if you're in Pikeville out there toward Ryan Hall, you might end up seeing 2 to 4 inches of snowfall tonight alone. I mean, you're talking about hours of snow squalls there. At the least. Okay. We do clear out by Thursday morning. So most of you asking about travel for Thursday morning, not going to be an issue unless you're in the far southeastern corner of the state, which I know like 80% of my viewers are not. So most of you are not going to have any worries for Thursday morning. Advance this forward to Thursday around lunchtime. Not a whole lot going on. Thursday around the evening commute, unfortunately, is when we start to see things pick up in southern Indiana. And you're going to see it eventually comes in as some very heavy snow, maybe some rain mixing in. And it does include a little bit more west of our snow map. The reason we don't have these people in like Eatown or Meade County or Brandenburg or out here toward Litchfield or Hart County, the reason we don't have you very much in our snow map is because you're going to see here, you're going to very quickly likely turn to rain and it's going to push east of you. So that rain is going to melt a lot of the snow that just fell. Now, of course, if we get to tomorrow night, right, and it ends up just being snowfall, not rain, obviously, we've got an overachiever on our hands. All right. But this is right here. Again, you can look up here for the time frames. It's 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's when most folks begin to really start getting in on it. It may start a couple of hours sooner than that. Advance this forward to about 9 to 10. You'll see how quickly that snow left central Kentucky. Now it's really hammering down toward Lexington, the I-75 corridor, Somerset, approaching the Pikeville area, up there toward Louisville as well. And then another little shot tries to come in here, but the problem with that is that the low pressure is actually going to be a little bit too close to Kentucky at that point, and probably going to start pulling in some warm air. You can see the above freezing lines getting very close to central Kentucky at this point. Advancing this forward to about 10 to 11 p.m. tomorrow, you'll see snow is still ongoing in Lexington, Louisville, up there toward Cincinnati, Ohio, getting out there toward Moorhead, Kentucky, Richmond, Berea, so on and so forth. Getting to about Friday at about 2 a.m., you'll see some sleet and rain starting to mix in now. That's the low pressure getting a lot closer to Kentucky, moving through Kentucky. So it's actually going to be warming as we go through this snow event. Usually it's quite opposite. Usually, am I freezing, by the way? I want to ask, am I freezing, by the way? Because on my preview here, it looks like I'm freezing. But if it's just my preview, I'm cool with that. Is everyone good? Is the viewing experience okay? Am I freezing? And then we'll go back through. Again, a lot of you asking your questions. I will answer a lot of questions toward the end of the broadcast. Right now, we're going through the whole spiel here. No, we're good. We're good. Everybody's good. Okay, just wanted to make sure because on my preview, it's looking like I'm freezing. But if everyone's good to go, we'll keep rolling through here. Okay, awesome. Awesome. So by about Friday, 2 a.m. Eastern time, you'll see some sleet and rain now entering the heart of Kentucky there. Still snowing toward Pikeville or Lexington in that little corridor there. And you can start to see why we have that corridor in the higher snowfall total expectation. Advances forward about Friday, 4 a.m., you'll see that precipitation has now made it over toward the I-75 corridor, the backside of it. And it does keep it as mostly snow from about I-75 and I-64 corridors up there in eastern and northeastern Kentucky. Advancing this forward now to about Friday at about 5 to 6 a.m., you'll see most folks will actually end as rain or sleet, which is quite opposite. Usually we start as rain or sleet and then get to snow. So again, we are going to be warming up through this event. And it's quite crazy. So again, here I'll show you, for example, the temperatures Thursday night going into Friday morning. Here's Thursday when the snow starts. You'll see Central Kentucky sitting at about 33. Eastern Kentucky sitting at about 32, 31. We'll cool down as we get a little bit more into the nighttime, and then the warm air begins to start pushing in, and you'll see what we're actually warming up. If you look at the time frame, we're actually going to be warming up throughout the snow event, which is quite opposite of what we deal with. So you'll see why this event has been a little bit of a headache and why I'm kind of staying away from the higher snowfall totals, because I think there's not enough people paying attention to the fact that we're going to be warming up through this event. So you're talking about it ending as rain for most people. You're talking about temperatures going into the mid to upper 30s for most people by Friday afternoon. A lot of that snow is going to quickly melt that you saw. So again, that's for Thursday night into Friday. Time frame is mainly between Friday at about 5 to 6 p.m. or Thursday at about 5 to 6 p.m., I should say, starting then, and then lasting until about 4 to 5 a.m. Friday morning, with Eastern Kentucky mainly being in the main areas of snowfall. Here is the total snowfall projected by this model in particular. You'll see it's very close to the forecast that we have out. So again, I have it on total snowfall to accumulate for some of the melting, or to take into consideration some of the melting, I should say. And you'll see most of it is really close to what we have on our map. So here's our snow map, by the way, for Thursday night going into Friday. And you'll see that this model is pretty close to what we have for our snowfall map. So again, and I'll show you that map here a little bit more later on, but I just want to kind of flash it to you real quickly. It does, however, have some higher totals up there toward Florence, Kentucky, up there towards Cincinnati, Ohio, trying to show a swath of 3 to 5 inches up there, 3 to 5 inches out here toward Pikeville, not surprising there. And then a wide swath of 1 to 3 inches around the I-75 to I-64 corridors, maybe 2 to 4 inches. Again, we will probably revise and review our snow map in the morning. As of right now, I feel pretty good about it. Again, the temperatures are going to be warming throughout. We're going to end as rain for a lot of folks. And then for you folks out there in Western Kentucky, you're not going to see a thing at all. Bowling Green, Paducah, Litchfield, Owensboro, Hopkinsville, Murray. Again, you're not going to see a thing at all, rain, sleet, or snow. You're going to stay completely dry and wonder what everyone's talking about Thursday night into Friday. So that's Thursday night into Friday. Let's talk a little bit about this Saturday system. Again, this is a loaded broadcast. Oh my God. Yo, I need W's in the chat from everybody for Momo Yasuki. I know I just butchered that name. They just sent 10,000 stars. So for those of you that don't know, that's equivalent. I think that's what is that even worth? I don't even know if that's worth. I don't know if I've gotten that much before. Goodness gracious, that's like what, $200? Oh my goodness. That's like almost a $200 donation by them. But what, they sent 1,000 more right before that. So Momo, thank you for the 11,000 stars on Facebook, which again is equivalent to like $200, right? Or something like that. I don't know. But thank you so much for that incredible. I'm sorry. Usually I don't stop for donations in the middle of my spiel, but I had to right there. Thank you so much. Very, very massive thank you to Momo for the 11,000 stars on Facebook. That's an incredible level of generosity that no one has to do. Thank you very much for that. That is insanely crazy. That is insanely crazy. Thank you again. I can't stop smiling. That's like 5 boxes of diapers right there. That's how you know I'm becoming a dad, or I'm a dad now, because that's how I view things. Thank you again. Let's hop back into the information here and keep on going. Thank you again. Wow, that's insane. That's insane. Thank you so much. Advancing forward here, we're going to get through to Saturday. Kind of cue this up a little bit. Now, this model is not going to see the entire event here. And I will tell you that some folks are going to be really annoyed by this, because it's going to be pretty much the same areas that just got hit by the last snowfall, which is mainly going to be central and eastern Kentucky. So for you western Kentucky folks hoping to get in on the... Now, I will tell you, for this event on Saturday evening, this has been shifting and trending to the south. Yeah, I'm a dad, by the way, whoever was asking about that. This has been shifting and trending to the south over the last few runs. Let me show you what I mean by that. So here is the European model. Let me see if does it even see it? Sort of, kind of. Let me do this. Let's do this right here. So 81 hours out. Do this up a little bit. Yeah, so you'll see here on the European model, this is the last 4 runs of the European model. And you can see it's trending more and more into Kentucky from that point. Now, I still don't think it's reading it correctly, so I'm going to still stick on the double RFSA model here. But it is trending more Kentucky favored for Saturday. Again, it's too early to talk about amounts and too early to talk about specific locations. But you'll see it's mainly the same areas that got impacted again, maybe now including the Western Kentucky north toward the Ohio River there. But I will tell you that when I was looking at the temperature profiles and the amount of moisture that's available with this one, the Saturday evening one, if it keeps trending like this, is going to be a winter storm in Kentucky. And it's going to be a widespread winter storm in Kentucky. If you don't know what a winter storm is, a winter storm is anything that's greater than 4 inches within a 12-hour period. So again, if it keeps trending that way, again, that's a big if, because these models, when it comes to handling very cold Arctic air versus Gulf moisture and warm air trying to battle it as well, they can struggle a lot. So I will tell you that. But I will tell you the general trend, not only today, but throughout last night, this morning, and this afternoon and evening, has been to pull this for Saturday evening more into Kentucky. So again, what the... Momo just sent another 5,000 stars. That's now 16,000 stars they sent on Facebook. Which I don't even know how much money that is. That's incredible. Thank you, Momo, for the 16,000 stars. Again, I don't usually stop to read donations in the middle of my spiel. I save it till the end. But when someone spends that kind of money to show that level of generosity, you kind of have to stop and say thank you. Thank you so much to Momo for the 16,000 star donation on Facebook. I appreciate that so much. Getting back into the information here, Momo's making it hard to focus. Again, Saturday evening, I think, has better potential for more widespread snowfall, but still Thursday evening to Friday morning is the one I'm focusing on because it's the first one up, and it still also has the potential to throw down 2 to 5 inches of snowfall throughout portions of north central and eastern Kentucky. So again, here's our snowfall map. I'll pull it up for you. If you haven't already seen this, this is on our Facebook and Twitter as well, so you can go look at that, zoom in, do whatever you want to do. That has already been posted. It has not changed. It might change by the morning. You guys know how that goes. But again, that's... Momo just sent another 800 stars, and I'm so distracted right now. That's almost 17,000 stars. That's... I don't even know how to pronounce, not pronounce. I don't even know how to quantify that. Thank you so much, Momo, for the almost 17,000 stars. That's incredible. Incredible. And apparently you're on a 3-week streak too, which means you've done it before and I just haven't seen it, which I'm sorry about, but that's incredible. So this is again our snowfall map just for Thursday night going into Friday morning. So again, just keep that in mind. And yes, some of my zones do look, I've had this question a lot tonight. Some of my zones look different than other TV companies or even the NWS. Again, I want to kind of let you guys know, I purposely don't go looking at other people's forecasts. All right. Because I think it can affect my own and it can create some bias that I don't want involved. So again, when I make forecasts and such, I create my own type of routine here and things that I look at and the calculus and maths that I do. Um, again, a lot of our maps are usually posted before other people's or just look different because this is what we see happening. Now, again, I will absolutely review this. And if it needs any changes, I will make changes in the morning tomorrow, which would be Friday morning or Thursday morning. My days are all mixed up here. We are talking about 3 events on one broadcast. It gets pretty hard to keep up. Leroy, thank you for your 50-star donation on Facebook as well. I thank you very much. If anyone's donating on YouTube, I'm sorry if I missed that. I haven't seen any. Real quickly, before I do open it up to questions, I do want to show you the absolutely brutal air that's coming through here. Apparently a stars party is happening on Facebook. Is Somerset going to get any accumulations of any snow? I do think you probably end up close to 1 to 2 inches. But if that gradient shift, you're right on the edge of that gradient, Somerset. If that shifts at all, you're more in or more out. So, by the way, real quickly, before we start getting in all the questions, I do want to show you the brutally cold air. Now, the good news is, the very good news here is that this is going to be very brief. I don't see this happening for a very long time. This is going to be a very brief cold shot here. So let's get this through. Saturday, you can see we warm up to mid-30s, depending upon where you're at there. And then the cold front, the Arctic front, if you want to call it that, really starts to smash in when that snowfall potentially arrives. I mean, look, these are real temperatures, by the way. These are not wind chills that you're seeing on your screen. You can see up here for yourself, 2-meter AGL above ground level temperature in Fahrenheit. These are real temperatures here, not wind chill at this point. Again, 6 degrees in E-Town Sunday morning, 4 degrees in Lexington. And by the way, if you have snow on the ground, you're going to be colder than this. So just keep that in mind. If you have snow on the ground by Sunday morning, you are likely going to be a little bit colder than what's shown here. So just keep that in mind. 9 degrees Paducah, 10 degrees Bowling Green. Again, these are real temperatures, not wind chills or feels like. Again, Sunday afternoon, by the way, your high for Sunday afternoon, 12 degrees in E-Town, 4 degrees in Lexington. It's not leaving the single digits in Louisville. Warming up a little bit in Paducah and Bowling Green because you're not going to have any snow on the ground most likely for that area in western and south central Kentucky. But again, if you have snow on the ground, guys, we may see a couple of negatives on the real temperatures, not the wind chills Sunday morning. So if you're an emergency operations personnel and you have any connections, you probably need to open up some warm shelters for at least Sunday, Saturday night, going into Sunday morning. You can likely close them by Monday morning. But for Sunday, absolutely, again, brutally, these are real. This is the high, projected high for Sunday right now. And again, if you have snow on the ground by Sunday morning, it's going to be colder than this. So just keep that in mind. By the way, here are the wind chills. I'll show you that real quickly as well. Wind chills for 6 a.m. on Sunday, -10 in Elizabethtown, -13 in Louisville, -12 in Lexington. Once again, if you have snow on the ground, this is going to be a little bit colder. Again, keep that in mind. So this is not going to be perfect at this stage. This is just kind of more of a ballpark, but I will tell you the models have been incredibly consistent on this. The good news for this Arctic blast, if you want to call it that, is that it's very brief. Monday morning, we get to about 3 degrees, 9 degrees, 14 degrees. And then by Monday afternoon, we start to warm up above freezing. Look how quickly it bounces back. 37 in Paducah, 37 in Bowling Green, 37 in Somerset. And then we kind of cool back down again for the low on Tuesday because, again, you have the snow on the ground potentially. And then we warm up to the mid-40s. And matter of fact, I was looking at some of the data today. So I know one of the questions that's going to pop up here in a few minutes is going to be what it's going to look like on Christmas. I am actually seeing a severe thunderstorm threat. Christmas Eve, maybe not severe, but at least a strong thunderstorm threat. Somewhere between December 23rd to December 26th. So that tells you that we're probably going to warm up quite a bit after this. I think after these next few days, I think we warm up and I think we start to get into a little bit of a stormy pattern. We're going to lose a little bit of the snow threat for a couple of weeks. I do think we crash back down in January. This is classic La Nina, by the way, guys. This is not weather manipulation or whatever other BS is out there. These are classic behaviors of a La Nina winter. You start brutally cold, or with some brutal cold snaps, with some snow shots before winter technically starts. Then, when winter technically starts on December 20th, you typically warm for quite a probably a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and then you start to crash back down. So again, this is pretty typical stuff here that we're seeing for La Nina winter. It's just it feels really drastic though. So yeah. All right. Again, here's a snow map for Friday night, or I'm sorry, Thursday night going into Friday morning. Again, I do think that Saturday has the higher potential for more places like E-Town, Litchfield, Owensboro, Louisville, who may miss out a little bit on this event. And then, of course, Saturday. I think Saturday has the biggest potential out of that we've seen so far this season. It's just a matter if it keeps trending in the right direction or not. So that's kind of where we're at for Saturday. It's too early to talk about it in great detail. By the way, thank you to Christine for the 99-star donation on Facebook. Says last of the big spenders here. It doesn't give me any other option, but I want to join the party. Christine, I appreciate that. 99 stars. Thank you so much, my friend. What are we at? 18,000 stars donated on this stream already. That is the most stars we've had. We haven't had very many stars donated in a long time, and that's just incredible. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right. I'll get to a few questions now. I'm not going to answer what's happening in my backyard, guys. You can see it on the map. I love y'all. We'll be here all night if we are answering those questions. You can see where it's out on the map. You can tell what to expect there. I will say this. Again, we will be reviewing this map in the morning and all the data, and we'll make any necessary revisions by tomorrow around lunchtime or so. All right. And again, don't just put your city in a question mark. I have no idea what you're asking about. You got to help me out here. I can't read your minds. I love y'all. Could the cold close or delay schools on Monday? It just depends on how long it's lasting. Again, by about lunchtime, we can begin to warm up. But yes, if the wind chills, I believe, are below zero, I think it's what the new standard is for most districts, which that may be the case for Monday morning. Yeah, you can absolutely probably see a couple or a lot of delays happening. I don't know about closures, because if they can get to past sunrise, it should warm enough for kids to be able to go to school. But yeah, if it's, I think if it's below zero or something like that, I think it's when they start to try to consider things. I can't remember. Each school district, I think, has something a little bit different. What's up with the sharp cutoff tomorrow night? Any southern shifts happening on the models for tomorrow night? Caden's asking about any potential southern shifts for tomorrow night. I don't really see that. Now, it could happen. We see it all the time, of course. The sharp cutoff is because you have colder, drier air trying to shove into the back of it. At the same time, the better moisture is to the east of the cold air. So the sharp cutoff is because the temperature gradient is just not there. It's just not widespread. You're either freezing or you're above freezing. And again, if you're above freezing, you're likely going to be dealing with some dry air. If you're below freezing, that's where the better moisture is at. So that's for the reason for the very sharp cutoff for a Thursday night into Friday system. What about Northern Kentucky Thursday night into Friday? Again, that's the area to me that has the best potential to see the higher snowfall totals. Right now, I have them like Florence in the 1 to 3 inch zone. That was probably a mistake. I probably should have went ahead and added them to the 2 to 4 inch zone. The data that I saw this afternoon before I made this map led me to believe 1 to 3 inches at that point up there. Based off the data that I've seen this evening so far, comparing that to the trends of the overall trends, I think in Florence, forget my cities up here. Florence, Independence, Crittenden, Dry Ridge, Warsaw, Maysville, Brooksville, maybe even Mount Olivet, up there in that northern corner of the state, probably is going to get added to the 2 to 4 inch zone tomorrow morning. Christine says, well, I am satisfied and informed. Thank you, brother. Many blessings to you and your family. Good night. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate that, my friend. That is incredible. I still can't get over the 10,000 star thing. And not only that, but they sent so much more. What about London tomorrow night into Friday? Again, kind of right on that zone there where you're either going to see a dusting or nothing or 2 inches. Again, the gradient is so tight. So if I have any recommendations to you guys, it's to make sure you're following our pages or turn on our notifications on Facebook and Twitter. Again, that's going, or X, whatever you want to call it. We're going to probably update this map tomorrow morning. because again, there's a little bit of subtle shifting, and I just kind of want to show you here. I just kind of let me show you what I'm talking about because again, by the way, we have a brand new model run coming in. Let's take a peek. Let's take a brand new model run coming in. Let's take a little bit of a peek here, shall we? That's already a little bit of a shift. But you can see the problem here too. It's the rain on the back. We're going to be again. I want to remind everyone that we're going to be warming up throughout this event on Thursday night into Friday morning. We're not going to be cooling down. We're going to be warming up through the storm, which is kind of, as we say around here, bass backwards, but that's true. We're going to be warming up. Again, just kind of show you here. Let's just show you what we're talking about here. So here is the snowfall totals from this run. Okay. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. This is the same model at a different time. So this is the same model from 4 hours ago. And here's its idea. Lexington at 1 inch, Louisville at a half inch, E-Town at a quarter inch, Somerset at a dusting, Pikeville at a half inch, so on and so forth. Here's the same model right now. So again, you can already see just that subtle shift, just enough. But look how much tighter the gradient. Look how quickly it falls off. So you have Lexington at 2 inches, right? And then it quickly falls off. By the time you get down to Nicholasville, you're at a half inch to a dusting. So again, the fall off is going to be great. So there are going to be some of you that the forecast that we make, the NWS makes, WKYT, Wave, WHA Celeb, whoever, it's going to be wrong at some point. Okay. Because the gradient is going to be so incredibly tight that it's going to be impossible. And I genuinely promise you, no matter how great you are, it's going to be genuinely impossible to get this 100% accurate because the gradient is going to be so tight. The only way you can do that is pulling the Chris Bailey and putting the 2 to 6 inch zone up there with the plus sign. That's the only way that you get this map correct for tomorrow. So again, that, by the way, that's not a shot at Chris Bailey. That's just a reference within the community that everyone references. So don't cancel me, okay? But again, the gradient's going to be so tight that it's such a quick fall off. So just keep that in mind for tomorrow. Again, that's the same model run just from a few hours ago and then now. By the way, here's the big three, if you will: NAM 3K, HRRR, RRFSA model. Here's the HRRR's idea. Here's the NAM 3K's idea. And here's the RRFSA idea. So you can see that even though what is my dog barking at? Geez, sorry about that. My dog is going crazy out there. So anyway, you can see that even among like the best 3 models here, there are some differences. All right. So the HRR model is trying to show 6 inches of snowfall happening in Moorhead, Kentucky, while the NAM 3K model has 3 inches happening there. So again, it's pretty difficult. It's pretty difficult to make a perfect forecast for this. So my best advice to everyone in here asking about amounts and such: look at our map now, but don't absolutely bank on it because it's probably going to change a little bit by tomorrow morning because we get a little bit of better data in and hopefully the models start to agree a little bit more. Yeah, Rachel, that's correct. Nothing happening in Warren County at all, in my opinion. Will Grayson County get any snow? Please say yes. Maybe with the Saturday event, I wouldn't really bank on it at all for Thursday night going into Friday. What about tonight? All day I've been hearing snow tonight in Bracken County from several different people. Yeah, snow squalls are possible, but they're kind of like pop-up showers in the springtime. They're very small, very unpredictable on where exactly they're going to hit. So it's not 100% guarantee, but it is possible for you. You think Christmas will be awesome sauce this year? I don't think so. I think Christmas is going to be warm. I think we're looking at probably in the 60s for Christmas. Again, that's a long shot being, 15 days out. So I'm not going to know for sure at this point. But if I had to put money on it, I think we're going to be pretty warm for Christmas this year. I'm sorry for the bad news. I know I've been waiting for a white Christmas for a while as well, a cold Christmas, how it's supposed to be, but I don't think that's going to be the case this year. A few random flakes fell in Wayne County just a couple minutes ago, but literally 10 flakes. Yeah, that's how it's going to be. Again, they're going to be very quick, very hidden, and then they're gone. I mean, if you guys want to, I can show you real quickly what the model's trying to show for Christmas. It can just now start to see it. So here is the Christmas Day temperature outlook. That's 6 a.m. in the morning. So you're probably talking about closer to 70 for the high for Christmas for the European model. Again, this is just model looking, so this is not going to be 100% accurate. Here's the GFS model's idea for Christmas. So you see the problem, right? One model showing 60 degrees, 70 degrees. The other model showing 25 degrees. So again, trying to answer a question about what's looking like for Christmas, somewhere between 20 and 70 degrees, something between rain and snow or dry, right? So again, it's impossible. If I had to bet though, if I was a betting man, I think it's going to be warm for Christmas. All right. Just curious what this model's trying to show for it. Yeah, so 55 on that one. I don't think any other model even goes out that far. So again, that's for Christmas. Again, somewhere between 20 and 70 degrees, dry, cold, rain, snow. It's not, I'm telling you guys, forecasting is not as easy as it seems. I'm telling you it's not. Okay. Let's pull back up the snow map for Thursday night and Friday. Angelia is asking about the snow chances for Logan County looking like for Saturday. Again, I think it's a little bit too early to get into that. The models are shifting a crazy amount right now for Saturday, back and forth. So putting snow chances or amounts out there right now is not responsible one bit. Now, I will say this: it does have great potential for Saturday, but where exactly that potential lines up, your guess is as good as anyone's. You need to do a snow dance for us to have a white Christmas. I wish, guys. I wish. If it was up to me, I would absolutely have it. But I mean, history tells us it's going to be dry. I mean, that's just how it goes in Kentucky. It's actually quite rare to get a white Christmas here. Lexington, do you think the water on the roads will freeze? Are you talking about tonight? I don't think so. Again, we're going to stay mainly above freezing. If you're talking about tomorrow night, of course, you will have some tough travel because you will have some sort of snow accumulations Thursday night into Friday morning. But as if you're talking about tonight, I don't think so. Again, the time frame for this to start on Thursday night and Friday, you can read it right there in the text, is anywhere between Thursday at 5 p.m. to Friday at 5 a.m. That's going to be the duration of the event. It will start in central Kentucky and then make its way east. So, for example, like Lexington, I would probably bet it would be closer to 7 p.m. for the start time. All right. I think that's going to do it for us here. I have explained this a lot over the last, I don't even know how long we've been live here, 43 minutes, or 39 minutes apparently. Again, we've explained, I think, all three systems very well. The cold air coming in very well. Again, I will make several updates. At this point, I will probably take it one day at a time. So tomorrow's updates and information will all be about Thursday evening to Friday morning. And then once we get to Friday after the event's over, we'll talk more about Saturday. So at this point, we'll take it one thing at a time. This video was more about just kind of getting all the information out there, getting you guys a heads up on everything. But I appreciate you guys tuning in so much. Thank you all so much. Again, Haley, talking about Saturday at this point is a little bit premature. Again, just kind of keep that in mind. Nancy's asking about if this will affect Bowling Green. No, Bowling Green's in the white. Don't expect anything for you at all. No rain, no snow, no sleet, in my opinion. For Thursday night and Friday, that is. All right. I'm George Harbick, Chief Forecaster here with WeatherNow Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. Until next time, stay safe, friends.